I'm excited to share my Webquest with you. It's about the Boston Massacre, and really it's about learning to think historically by analyzing and comparing primary sources from the Boston Massacre. I wrote my hook, my introduction, as a story, and it's written from the opposing viewpoints of British soldiers and the colonists. And it ends with the big question, did the British soldiers commit atrocious acts of murders, or did they defend themselves? The task sets students as historians with the job of writing a website for a Boston Historical Society, and students will take the roles of characters at the time of the event so that they can learn to see history from multiple viewpoints. The first thing that students will do is choose a real character from this site and make a character trading card so that they will identify with one viewpoint better. Next, they're going to go to Google Earth and see the site of the massacre, which has been restored to look as it did in 1770. This is a video that's an overview of the massacre, a summary, and it's a reenactment. I took it into Zaption to make it into an interactive assignment. Next, they need to learn about how to think historically, so they're going to have a little job training here with this site. This is from teachinghistory.org, and it's also a Zaption video. Now we finally have gotten past the background information, and we're at the first primary source. And I chose Paul Revere's engraving because it was the most influential piece of media, and because it's so inaccurate. And I took it into Docs Teach to focus students' attention on the inaccuracies and on Revere's message. We learned that Paul Revere had a motive, and we learned about these different words, about the different vocabulary about analyzing sources. And all of these are linked, and so are the pictures. And the quest asks students to go to Coggle and start a mind map to organize their findings. And as they're organizing their findings, they're to report what their viewpoint is, whether they agree with it or not, and also what their factual findings are as they go through the sources. Now we get to find out what Preston thought. This was the captain. Not this particular picture, but this picture is linked to a biography about Captain Preston, who led the soldiers in the massacre. And we get to find out what he had to say from his jail cell. This is the first document that I have a resource for. I took his deposition and highlighted parts for students to concentrate on. And also, I have this mind map example because I want students to add weight to the evidence as they're entering it into the mind map. So here's this mind map example. It'll actually look like a scale. Okay, and these are all links to, this link takes students to other depositions and statements, and all of these questions I'm trying to get the students to really think about these different resources, primary sources, and all of these sources that we're going to are primary sources. And then the final assignment is in the evaluation section. Let's go back up there. It's a long Webquest. Here we go. So evaluation. So I want their website to show understanding of the event, and I also want it to show an understanding of historical thinking and how different viewpoints have an effect on history. And here's my first ever rubric. In the conclusion, I asked students to bring the ideas of propaganda and primary source into their current life with their technology, and how would it be different if that same event were to happen today. And then there are more sites to look into. Here I provide sources for one of the components of historical thinking that I did not touch on in the Webquest, immediacy. So this lithograph was made decades later, in the 1800s sometime, and during the abolition movement, and you can see the central figure in the lithograph, so there's a reason for that. And so there are a few later sources made by people at the time, but later. And then I made a big thank you to all of my Fresno Pacific classmates and instructor for encouragement and inspiration. Thank you for watching.